All right, let's get started. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for joining Hindi University. In this class, we'll be picking up a new Hindi, vocabulary session. We'll take a new song, an international song, and in this case, we have an Arabic song. It's a very popular song from late 90s. It became even more popular in India as well, India and a lot of the South Asian countries. So I hope you will like it as well. The song is Habibi by the singer Amr Diab. And as I said, the song was so popular that it got adopted in Hindi language as well. So there is a Hindi version of the song available as well. There are many parts in the song, but primarily I'll be focusing on the adjective piece, the specific place where the singer is talking about the most beautiful eyes. So if you were to say the same thing in Hindi, how would you say that? And if you were to use more adjectives in Hindi, the most tall, the tallest building or the lowest, ocean or something like that, how would you say that? So we'll be learning over those. So with that in mind, just give me a quick minute. Yon, can you hear me okay? Okay, good. All right, so let's get started. So let's get started. So the first thing which the song is about is Habibi, which is my love, right? And how would you say that in Hindi, right? Both for a male or a female, right? So there are many ways to say that, but I'll just take one of them. Um, so so let's say a female is saying it, right? So she will say mere mehboob, right? And this is basically for a male. Mehboob is referring to a male, right? And so this is a female is saying it. And when a male is saying it, it would be Meri Meher Buba, right? And this is basically referring to a female, right? So this was just the title of the song. Let's get into more detail where you will learn even more important vocabulary words. Okay. So I wanted to bring your attention to the very important point in this song, where in Arabic, the second line of this song is Ya Sakin Khayali. And you'll be surprised that, this word means imagination. It means imagination or thoughts. And Hindi word is quite equivalent. It's very similar to khayali. The word we have is khayal, khayal or khwab. Khayal and khwab, it's like thoughts or imagination. Imagination. What this line means is like you live in my imagination or thoughts. Now, as always, we'll see how we can break it down and sort of like, deconstruct the whole sentence. So let's do that. the first thing you will do is, like, let's take a word. When it comes to live, it means rehna, rehna, and you have ra, ha, na with a, rehna, right? Uh, Simple sentence would be you live in Morocco. And my apology if this. So आप मोरक्को में रहते हैं, right? In Morocco or in Delhi, in Japan, in Peru, right? आप मोरक्को में रहते हैं. So far so good. The question would be आप कहाँ रहते हैं? The question is आप कहाँ रहते हैं? Where do you live? Where do you live? आप कहाँ रहते हैं? And the response to that would be, मैं डीसी में रहता हूँ, और मैं न्यूयॉर्क में रहती हूँ, और मैं इंडिया में रहता हूँ. Now, if you want to make it even more deeper, which is happening in this case, right? So far we were saying, like, Delhi में, in Delhi, um, Peru में, in Peru, right? You can also say UAE में, in UAE. But fourth one, which is like what is used in this song, is like imagination may, or in the Hindi word would be khayal. Khayal is a singular thought. Plural is khayalon mein. So in thoughts or in imagination. I'll write it down again, but I was just trying to show you the pattern. So Delhi mein, in Delhi, Peru mein, in Peru, UAE mein, in UAE, khayalon mein, in thoughts. Okay, so let's look at the fourth one, which is used in this song. So, khayal. So you write it as like you have a kha, you have a ya with a and la. That's singular, right? But when you say khayal mein, it's in thought. But the plural would be kha yalon mein. You have kha, ya with a, and then lo mein. So what's happening is, like, when you're using a post position, you take the oblique case of khayal. So that's plural. Okay. You can also use another word called khwab. Khwab. So it's like half kha, v with a, and then b. Khwab. Right. Same thing. For a singular one, it's a khwab. If you're using plural, it would be khwabo mein. And there are many, songs. If you just simply search by ख्यालों में और ख्वाबों में, if you simply search by this like two words, ख्वाबों में or ख्यालों में, you will see many Hindi songs written using these keywords as well, right? So I just want to sort of bring it to your attention. And similarly, if you notice it, the khayal, the word which is used, or the vocabulary word which is used in Arabic is very similar to what we have in Hindi. Perhaps one is derived from another one, right? So good so far. So the question is, like, when do we say re? Okay. So when I say मैं, मैं आपके मैं आपके शहर में रहता हूँ। मैं आपके शहर में रहता हूँ। So मैं is I, आपके शहर में is your city, मैं is a postposition which means in, and रहना it's to live, right? So when you're saying मैं आपके शहर में रहता हूँ, it means I live in your city, and because it's मैं, you are using हूँ. Okay. What about the other way around? If you want to say you live in my city, you will say आप, which is you. You live in my city, and my city would be मेरा शहर. My city. आप मेरा शहर. However, my city is मेरा शहर, but because you're using a post position, मेरा शहर will become मेरे शहर में. If you were to just use मेरा शहर in like a different context, मेरा शहर दिल्ली है, मेरा शहर Morocco है, then it's मेरा शहर. But if there is a post position after मेरा शहर, you मेरा becomes मेरे. Okay, so आप मेरे शहर में, and then because it's आप, it's रहते, and ob object in this case would be रहते हैं. आप मेरे शहर में रहते हैं. So I hope that clarifies the question. Let's see if there are more questions here. Very good. So आप, मैं पेरू में रहता हूँ, आप कहाँ रहते हैं? Awesome. Let's keep going further. So I encourage you to come up with more sentences using, रहना, the verb that we have, and see if you can, not only answer someone but also ask them questions using रहना. So as I said, most of the time I'll be spending on the adjective part, which is used in this song. So I'll write down one line which is used in this song in Arabic, and then we'll go into the detail. So the next one is, and that's in Arabic. You have Agmal Yun Ikon Ana Shu. Okay. What the singer is actually saying is basically the most beautiful eyes I have ever seen in the world. Right? That's what he's trying to describe. The most beautiful eyes. So if you look at it, beautiful is an adjective. It's a article here, and the most, right? So what if you want to use the most beautiful eyes, in context to other, like, sort of vocabulary words, the tallest building in the world, or the lowest point in the ocean. How will you say that in Hindi, right? So as I said, I'll be spending a lot of time coming up with, like, different sentences that covers this particular phrase. And I thought it was pretty interesting in the song, and I want to sort of like replicate that in Hindi. So let's get going. So when you say the most beautiful, in this case it would be sabse, and beautiful it's sundar, sabse sundar, and because it's eye, eye is aankh, but it is eyes, it would be aankhein, aankhein, sabse, the most. Okay, if you look at it, you have sub, which is all. When you say is a postposition, right? Uh, it can be used from, like, to find out where you are from, like aap kahan se hai. It can also be used to compare, right? Mujhse, right, from me or with me, right? So sabse with respect to all. So sabse sundar, right? So like beautiful, the most beautiful, right? So let's look at more examples, so that way you'll see what's going on. So first let me write down in Hindi. So it's sub is all. When you say sabse, from all, out of all, sabse sundar. So you have a sir with who, half na, the, and then ra, and then you have aankhein. सबसे सुंदर आंखें, the most beautiful eyes. You can use that. So the question is, can I use for beautiful, can I use khoobsurat? And you can definitely do that. That's the idea behind it. To, once you understand the construct, you can change the adjective to, the way you want to use in the sentence. So khoobsurat is also correct. Okay. So how else or where else we will use it, right? So let me give you some examples, and then I want you to practice it with me. So folks who are watching live, they can write down on the chat box, and folks who are watching on YouTube, using live stream, you can write down on the comments. So for each of them, I'm going to give you, like, 15-20 seconds, so that way you will practice it as well. So the first one is the most beautiful city. The most beautiful city. I'll give you 15 seconds. Your task is to write down, the sentence in Hindi. Very good. I already have some answers here. So, first thing is, like, city is a new word, right? So you'll try to inquire. If you don't know the Hindi word for city, you will use it. You'll ask it using our formula, which is city को हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं, right? City को हिंदी में शहर कहते हैं. So it would be सबसे सुंदर शहर, सबसे सुंदर शहर, right? The most beautiful city. Has several of them to cover. So, we'll keep going. Next one is the most beautiful flower. So I'm going to give you again 15 seconds. I'm going to give you 15 seconds. So you have to write the most beautiful flower in Hindi. And as you know first half of it, सबसे सुंदर. And if you don't know the meaning of or the word for a flower in Hindi, you can ask using the formula that we have. Okay. सबसे सुंदर फूल. Very good. सबसे सुंदर फूल. Fool is a flower in Hindi. Okay. So let's keep going so that way you have some rhythm here. Most beautiful. So the weather is really good. You're going out and you see, you want to say it's the most beautiful day. How will you say that? And again, if you don't know the Hindi word for it, practice using this formula. Very good. सबसे सुंदर दिन. Day is दिन. सबसे सुंदर दिन. Let's keep going so that way you have some rhythm here. So the next one is the most beautiful island. The most beautiful island. And if you don't know, as I said, I keep repeating it again and again. Use the formula. Okay. So again, if you don't know it, I encourage you to use the formula, or you can also say मुझे मुझे नहीं पता, which means I do not know. So try saying that in Hindi as well. मुझे नहीं पता, I do not know, right? Okay, मुझे नहीं मालूम है और मुझे नहीं पता है. Both of them are same, right? So island in Hindi is dweep, and most of the time when people are they're speaking informal Hindi, they'll just say सबसे सुंदर island. But if you want to be really formal, you can use dweep, and I'll tell you how to write dweep in Hindi. Dweep, right? So you have a the with a small um, small sign in between below the, and then you have a v with e and p. Dweep, dweep. सबसे सुंदर dweep. Okay. Let's continue the momentum. Let's say the most beautiful. Let's say I want to compliment my son or my kid, and I want to say you're the most beautiful kid. How will I say that in Hindi? This one I'm sure you guys know. So again, I'm going to give you some time. How will you say that in Hindi? The most beautiful kid. Very good. सबसे सुंदर बच्चा. Kid is बच्चा. सबसे सुंदर बच्चा. So I have one more. The most beautiful place. So again, you're visiting some of your friends and you like the city a lot, and you want to give a compliment. This is the most beautiful city, or this is the most beautiful place in the world, right? How will you say that? The most beautiful place. Okay, so the place, think about it. Place, it's a generic word. So what we are saying is jagah, j, k, and h. When you say makan, that's house, right? When you say makan, that's the most beautiful house. But when you want to say the most beautiful place, it's sabse sundar jagah. Okay, let's continue. You want to say it's the most beautiful moment, most beautiful moment. Let's not break our rhythm. Continue with it. The most beautiful moment. And again, this is like you are with your family. Everybody's having a good time, and you want to sort of like bring it to your. You want to say that in Hindi. It's the most beautiful moment in my life. Very good. So a moment is, as I mentioned, it's fun or lamha. So you can use per, fun, or you can use lamha, right? So you can say सबसे सुंदर लम्हा or सबसे सुंदर पल, right? Next one, the most beautiful thing. Most beautiful thing. How will you say that in Hindi? The most beautiful thing. Okay. In this case, with referring to thing is cheese. Cheese. Okay. सबसे सुंदर चीज. सबसे सुंदर चीज. When you say सबसे सुंदर बात, it means basically a conversation or a topic. Or if somebody has said something and you were like, okay, this is the most beautiful thing somebody has said to me, then you can say सबसे सुंदर बात basically, right? In this case, you're referring to some movable or some kind of objects, right? I mean, so it's सबसे सुंदर चीज. Good. So let's keep going further. Now I want to change it a little bit, and instead of beautiful, I want to use a different adjective here, right? So the adjective here I have is old, right? And old in Hindi is purana. So you have pa with o, you have a ra with a, you have a na with a, purana. Okay, purana ghar is old house, purana sheher is old city, right? But you want to use it in the context that you're visiting a place and you come across one of the oldest house in that town, or you come across an oldest river or an oldest language, right? How will you say that in Hindi, right? So let's practice that. So let's say you have the oldest book. So before we do that, I want to take some time to explain you. When we said Sundar, right? Sundar remains same regardless of the sort of the gender of the object, whether it's a masculine or feminine or singular or plural. But when you use oldest, as I said Purana, right? Purana. It's considering if it is a masculine singular, right? Purani. Purani if it is a feminine singular or plural. Or Purane. Purane is if it is a masculine plural, right? In this case, it's book, oldest book. Now, let's say you don't know. First, let me ask you, what do you think it is? Book is a masculine or feminine? So I'll take a pause here and see what you guys think here. Whether book is a masculine or feminine in Hindi. Very good. So it is feminine in Hindi, right? So you will say, and because it's singular, you will say सबसे पुरानी किताब. सबसे पुरानी किताब. You're using purani because book is feminine, right? And if you don't know, and if you want to be grammatically correct, you can say kya book feminine hai, and क्या book feminine है, and based on the response of the native speakers they can tell you हाँ book feminine है और हाँ book masculine नहीं है, right? You can then say you can use whether purana, purani or purane based on that. So let's continue. The next one I have is the oldest city. How will you say that? The oldest city. Let's continue the momentum. There's no negative mark, so please try it. Okay. So question here is like, if you don't know whether a city is masculine or feminine, so you can say kya city masculine hai? हाँ. Answer is yes. Right? So then in that case it would be सबसे पुराना शहर. सबसे पुराना शहर. Good. सबसे पुराना शहर. Let's say the next one. The oldest language. You want to say that in Hindi. How will you say that? And now, having gone through it, I hope it is rather easier. So, faster you respond, the better it is. The oldest language. Very good. सबसे पुरानी भाषा. So language is भाषा. So पुरानी, first of all, language is भाषा. So you have a bh with a, and then you have a sh, and then with a. Bhasha. And because language is feminine, you will say सबसे पुरानी भाषा. Okay. And script is a different one, right? Script is lipi. Lipi. Lipi, right? Script is a different one. If you want to, if you come across a script which is very old and you want to say this is the oldest script in the world, right? So then you can say सबसे पुरानी लिपि. Okay. So let's continue. The next one I have, it's the oldest tree. How will you say that? The oldest tree. मुझे नहीं, okay. So tree in Hindi is पेड़. So you have a pa with a and then the पेड़. So सबसे and then पेड़ is masculine. So it will be सबसे पुराना पेड़. Now you know it, right, यार? सबसे पुराना पेड़. Okay, so now I want to change it a little bit more because we've learned, so as I said, like, don't get discouraged if you don't know the vocabulary word. You know the formula, right? And you can always use the formula. That's the, reason behind it, because vocabulary, there is no end to it. In any language, you'll continue to learn vocabulary throughout your life, right? When you're learning the language. The idea here is like you should be able to ask that in Hindi itself, right? So far you learned beautiful, one of the adjectives. Second is the oldest. Let's take the next one, right? Expensive. So the next expensive is mehenga. Mehenga. And again you have a ma, with the nasalized sound, mehenga. Mehenga, right? So we'll be using this, this particular adjective, in our sentences. As I said, like, similar to Purana, it will be, mehenga when the object is a masculine singular. It would be mehengi when the object is feminine singular or plural. And then the third one would be mehenge when the object is masculine plural. Okay, so let's practice it now in our sentences. So this time I'll be rather quick so that way we can cover more of them and you get practice. So what I'll do is, like, I'll write all of them down so that way you have, time to, the most expensive so I'll have a house, a car, and a painting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm going to give you some time so you can spend time thinking about or writing about how will you say that in Hindi. Okay, so with that in mind, just take your time and write these three sentences in Hindi. So I already have an answer for the house. What about car and painting? Okay, very good. What about the last one? Painting. Okay, very good. All right, so let's get going. I think I'm very happy here. Overall response, you will say सबसे. So I'll write them down separately. House is like, masculine singular, right? So you'll say सबसे महंगा मकान और घर, सबसे सुंदर, सबसे महंगा घर, एक्चुअली सबसे महंगा मकान और सबसे महंगा घर. कार is a feminine singular, so you say सबसे महंगी. You can say car is fine, or you can say गाड़ी. Either way is fine. Gaadi is a generic word for any kind of vehicle. And then the last one, painting, right? Painting is also feminine singular. So you say सबसे महंगी, सबसे महंगी कला और चित्रकारी. चित्रकारी. Chitra is like, again, it's referring to a picture, right? It's art. When you say art, it's चित्रकारी. So सबसे महंगी कला और सबसे महंगी चित्रकारी, right? No problem. Now you know painting, so चित्रकारी or kala. You can use either of them. All right. So let's maintain our momentum here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the next one. Okay. The next adjective, and it will be cheap. We did the expensive. Now we want to say the cheapest house, cheapest car, and the cheapest painting. Paintings are usually expensive. I'm going to replace it with something else. You'll say the cheapest ticket, let's say. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some example, so that way you know what cheap. When we talk about so here we're talking about, we are referring to cheap in terms of price, right? Opposite to expensive. So when you say cheap, it's sasta, sir, and then followed by half sir, the, and a, right? Sasta. Okay. Follows the same principle as mehenga, where you have sasta for masculine singular, sasti for feminine singular and plural, and saste for masculine plural. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, and I'm going to let you do your homework. So the cheapest house, the cheapest car, and the cheapest ticket. Okay. Awesome. So I already have all the answers here. So the first one you have is the cheapest house. So सबसे सस्ता मकान और घर, सबसे सस्ता घर. Right? The second one is like as you said, car, right? So you have the सबसे सस्ती car और गाड़ी, सबसे सस्ती गाड़ी. Okay. Now ticket, you can simply say, refer to ticket as ticket, and that's masculine singular. So you will say सबसे सस्ता ticket, and you can use it, right? I mean, सबसे सस्ता ticket, for example, if some of you are searching for a flight from location A to location B, and you're arguing with your friend, and they're like, okay, what the heck is this? Like, this is a very expensive one, and you are like, no, ये सबसे सस्ता ticket है. This is the cheapest ticket. Okay. So that's how you can sort of use it. Very good. सबसे सस्ता ticket. All right. So I'm really glad with the progress. You guys are making very good progress here, and going in a very good momentum here. So I'll continue now. I'll take another objective, and I'll say the next one is cold. Cold is thanda. So you have a th, na, ta, thanda, right? Thanda follows, kind of the same structure as expensive and cheap, where, it can be thanda, thandi, and thande, right? So thanda, as I said, is for masculine singular, or thandi for feminine singular and plural, and thande would be for masculine plural. Okay, so I'll follow the same structure. I'm gonna give you three kind of sentences to write in Hindi, right? Or four rather. So it will be the coldest, the coldest. Okay, so the place, city, day, and month. Okay, your time starts now. Now you have to write them down in Hindi. How will you do that? Okay, okay, I'm getting a lot of answers already. So the way you do it is like, as I said, subse coldest place, right? So place is feminine singular. So you'll say सबसे ठंडी जगह, सबसे ठंडी जगह, right? Um, Next one, jagah is like a generic one. It can be used for anything basically, any place. Now city. So सबसे, what do you think city is? It's a masculine singular or a feminine singular? Masculine, very good, right? So सबसे ठंडा शहर, सबसे ठंडा शहर. The next one is दिन, right? दिन is also masculine singular. So you say सबसे ठंडा दिन. So in winters, if it's very cold, you can say आज सबसे ठंडा दिन है. This is the coldest day today, right? And the next one is month, which is महीना. So you say सबसे, and again it's a masculine singular, so it's सबसे ठंडा महीना. So I'll just write it as like महीना, MAHEE, महीना, सबसे ठंडा महीना. Good. Now we still have some more time. So now the next one is opposite to thanda is hottest. Same thing you want to say using a different adjective, right? So hot is, I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think hot is in Hindi? Very good, right? So hot is garam. So you can write it as ga, ma, and then ra on top of it, or you can also say garam, ga, ra, and ma, right? And interesting thing to note is like garam doesn't change based on the adjective. So similarly, sundar, remember sundar remains same for regardless of the object is masculine or feminine, singular or plural, right? So throughout all these sentences, throughout all of them, you can simply say सबसे गर्म जगह, the hottest place, right? सबसे गर्म शहर, right? The hottest city, or सबसे गर्म दिन, this is the warmest or the hottest day, and then सबसे गर्म महीना, right? So I already did the work for you, but I want you to think about some more sentences you can think of, right? When and use it with this particular adjective. Good so far. So I'll take one more, which is a little difficult, and the word itself is difficult. It's also an adjective. And after that, I'll feel very comfortable that you'll be able to do it for, whenever you see a phrase like this, you'll be able to say that in Hindi. The next one is the most difficult. Difficult. The most difficult, it can be anything, right? It can be a language, it can be a task or a question, right? How will you say that? Right? So you need to know the word for difficult here, right? And difficult in Hindi is, let's see if some of you already know about it. Okay, so difficult is, either you can say mushkil, mushkil, so you have a ma with u, half share, ka, mushkil, or you can say kathin, kathin, kathin. And the way you write it is like you have a ka, ta with e, and kathin. That's the word for difficult. So now let's say how to use that in sentences. Okay. The first one I have is the most difficult task or work. How will you say that? So this time I'm going to go one by one, and then work in Hindi is very good. सबसे मुश्किल काम. So you say सबसे मुश्किल काम. सबसे मुश्किल काम. Right. काम is work or a task. You have ka, a, and ma. काम. Right. So let's take some more. Language. You've already done it, so it should be rather easier for you. Language. Most of you are language learners, so most of you know more than 2-3 languages. And let's say you're learning a new language and that's very difficult, and you just want to say this is the most difficult language I've ever learned. It will be, how will you say that? Very good. So you say सबसे मुश्किल भाषा. ब आ श आ भाषा. सबसे मुश्किल भाषा. Right. Next one is decision. So let's say you're in a dilemma and somebody has given you a problem and you have to solve it, right? You have to make a decision, right? And you say that this is the most difficult decision I ever made, right? How will you say that? And let's see if you guys can think of a Hindi word. If not, I'm going to tell you what the Hindi word for decision is. मुझे नहीं पता. Okay, so the decision is, when you say decision in Hindi is फैसला. So you have a fur with a, so फैसला, right? So it will be सबसे मुश्किल, either you can say सबसे मुश्किल decision or you can say सबसे मुश्किल फैसला. सबसे मुश्किल फैसला. Okay, and I think the last one here now is the most difficult question. Question or problem. The most difficult question, or very good. So you said सबसे मुश्किल सवाल. So you have a sir, with a and सबसे मुश्किल सवाल. Right. So we are right on time. I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. By the end of this class, I'm hoping that today you learned how to use adjectives and use them in a in a way that you can compare it, or you can simply say the most beautiful, the most expensive, the cheapest, or the warmest, or the coldest. You'll be able to come up with these kind of sentences. So with that in mind, people who are watching on live streaming, next week we'll meet again with a new song. Your suggestions are more than welcome. So you can always propose a new song in a different language as well. Folks who are watching, on the panel, I'm gonna unmute you so we can